few months ago, I made a very unremarkable post on Reddit asking about the meaning of a symbol on a necklace I found. While it seemed like most of the people didn't know what it meant, someone called Stan, who asked to DM me. Either Reddit or the mods of Symbology hid the comment from the post because it was really hard for me to find. He had a simple username, so I searched it and found him. This seems really stupid looking back on it, but I didn't find anything suspicious about him at first. And I just wanted anything resembling an answer as to what the symbol on the necklace was. He told me a bizarre story about how the necklace was an elder sign, and there were only 5 of them made, but one of the 5 owners passed away. It sounded like he was just making it up, but I indulged him and asked him about his crazy story, though I didn't think anything of it. I then made another post about a month later on another subreddit, asking about a set of missing persons cases I remembered from when I was younger, asking if anyone knew about it. It was completely unrelated to anything I've posted before, but Stan sent me a message about it saying I should delete the post because it was about an ongoing investigation. He said I should delete the post about the necklace too. All of this seems super shady to me, since this just happened to be someone who responded to a previous post of mine. I asked him to send me some kind of proof that he was actually someone with authority on this, but he just kept urging me to delete it, getting more and more aggressive. I ignored him, thinking he just wanted attention, and went on about my life. I'm a cashier at a convenience store, and a few weeks after I stopped messaging Stan, 2 men were buying 2 frozen pizzas. They both looked early to mid-20s, one with blonde hair and one with black hair. I didn't think anything suspicious of this at first, until the black-haired one said, "So, Livian, did anyone else ever tell you what the necklace meant?" I was absolutely stunned. My real name is not Livian. It's been my username on everything since I was a kid, but no one has ever used that name for me in real life. Though I realized one of them must have been Stan, I just pretended to not know what he was talking about, and he said, "Never mind," and paid for his pizzas, and the 2 of them left. I was concerned because I'm not sure exactly how he found me. As I was walking home though, I saw the 2 of them in a car, driving on the road next to me, and both of them gave me a brief death stare. I didn't know which one of them was Sam until I saw one of them again. I assumed it was the blonde one, but I actually never saw him again. I saw the black-haired one again several times, always standing or walking next to someone, but it was a different person every time. In all of these sightings, Stan never talked to me. He'd just make the same death stare at me, usually talking to whoever he was with. After a while, he walked up to me and talked to me for the first time, asking me if I took down any of the Reddit posts. I feigned ignorance again, but this time he kept pushing. I said, "Dude, leave me alone," and walked away. I hadn't called the police yet because Stan didn't intimidate me that much, and he never really seemed hostile. But one day, on the way home from the laundromat, I got a little concerned when I saw the same car behind me for the whole drive home. I got really paranoid when I realized it looked a lot like Stan's car, which I had only seen once. I did 3 left turns, but he seemed to catch on and turned right. When I made it around the block and got back home, Stan was parked right in front of the apartment complex, just standing as he looked directly at me. I rolled up my windows and pulled out my phone and dialed 911. He walked up to me and started knocking on my window. The police showed up and talked to him. I don't know what exactly he told them, but they didn't really do anything. They asked if I had any proof of him stalking me before. I showed them his comments and direct messages, but they didn't seem interested. He told them that he'd go home and not to talk to me, and they seemed satisfied. Thankfully, I haven't seen him again or any of the people I saw him hanging out with. I, female 23, am staying with my friend, also female 23, for a couple of weeks in the town I grew up in. She works at a restaurant. Without giving away too many details about the location, it's a plaza with a river nearby, a movie theater, restaurants, boutiques, etc. We enter through the parking garage, which has 3 stories, both elevators and stairs. This is important. She had a 6-hour shift, so I decided to do some shopping, listen to music, and walk around before eating at the restaurant my friend works at. I was sitting at the bar on the corner alone, just listening to music. A bigger man approached me. He had a security guard beanie on that was incredibly dirty and tattered up, He was muttering, and his eyes were barely open. What I got from his muttering was, "Are you... I like your... Is anyone sitting?" But keep in mind, it was incredibly muttered. I'm just guessing what he was trying to say. All of this was said while he was switching back and forth between looking into my eyes and staring at my chest. I told him multiple times I couldn't understand what he said. After a bit of back and forth, I put the headphones back around my neck and he left me alone. I told my friend about what happened immediately. I tried to shake it off, hoping it was an isolated incident. If this is where the story ended, I wouldn't be writing this, unfortunately. About an hour later or so, I saw someone approach the bar to my left, out of the corner of my eye, and I felt their eyes on me. I didn't look, but somehow I knew it was him. My heart started beating really fast. I texted my friend and told her I felt really sketched out. I wanted to believe that I was misreading things, and was just letting anxiety get the best of me, but I couldn't shake the feeling. 30 minutes or so later, she gets off. As we walked towards the parking garage stairs to get to our car, I saw him sitting on a bench, waiting for me. The benches aren't super close to the elevators. They're closer to the restaurant, if anything. The second I spotted him, my blood ran cold. He saw us walking towards the stairs to the parking garage and started running towards us. I was face to face with him by the time we got to the top of the stairs. We booked it back to the restaurant and used the employee elevator to get to our car, and an employee escorted us to the car as well. The employee told us there are a lot of cases of homeless people who walk around the restaurants, so I presume he was homeless and just walking in and out of restaurants until he saw me. I'm incredibly thankful I trusted my gut and that I saw him. I don't know what would have happened to us if I hadn't seen him at first, but I don't want to find out. This happened this Saturday, 2 days ago. I'm a 19-year-old freshman at uni who moved from a fairly small town to a big city. There was a guy I talked to over Tinder for around 2 weeks. He was cute and seemed nice. We had a lot in common. He even studied at the same university. He was older, though he already had a degree and was now doing post-grad. First time we ever met, we went out to grab a coffee on Monday, exactly a week ago. I had a great time, and when he asked me if I'd like to get drinks, drinking age here is 18, on Saturday, I happily said yes. We met up at a local bar and talked without a moment of awkwardness for 2 hours. We really clicked. I had to go to the bathroom, and when I came back, a man was waiting for me outside the toilet. He stopped me and told me the guy sitting at my table put something in my drink and asked if I wanted him to call the police. I thanked him but said no, everything was fine, and went back to my table. I really liked the guy and wanted to believe that the random man was just pranking me. Still, I wasn't willing to risk it, so I told him directly what happened. I said, "I'm sorry, this sounds insane, but after I got out of the bathroom, some random guy told me you put something in my drink." He laughed and said that's insane, as if we were giggling at the situation together. He wasn't serious about it at all. I apologized and said I don't think he did that. Not at all, but I'd be much more at peace if he chugged my drink, just so I know the random guy was pranking me, because nothing like this has ever happened to me before. I apologized again and said the drinks are on me, and I'm very sorry to make the situation awkward. He said that's absolutely not a problem, that he just has to go pee first. I waited. After 15 minutes, I realized he's not coming back. I waited around for a little bit longer, and after half an hour, I paid and went home. Upon getting home, I checked my Tinder and saw that he deleted his account. Okay, maybe he thought I'm so insane our date made him delete the app. Still, it bothered me. I googled him and found nothing. Today I went to the records office at my uni and asked if a person with his name was studying here. The lady working there told me that's private information she can't share. I then asked if a person with this name has ever been obtained a degree from this university. She looked it up and told me that no one with his name has ever obtained a degree here. He lied to me. He told me he did his undergrad at my uni. He hasn't. Or alternatively, he told me a fake name. I'm now sure that he had terrible intentions and did spike my drink. I was more than lucky that someone noticed. I have no idea what he'd do to me had I drunk that, and I really don't want to know. I'm still a bit creeped out about the situation. I did delete Tinder, and I'm very glad I didn't give him my phone number or my address. He did offer to pick me up, and I cleverly said no, yet dumbly told him that the coffee place we met up at is walking distance to my apartment. So he knows the area I live in, as well as my first and last name and where I study. I don't think there's anything I can do about it, though. I seriously doubt he ever gave me his real name. Last night, I awoke to the unsettling noise of loud banging and my dog's frantic barking. Living alone with my girlfriend, we had grown accustomed to our neighbors' domestic disputes, and I had to call the police often. I stumbled to the bathroom as the walls there are thin and separate our duplex from theirs. As I approached the bathroom door, the entire house was dark and a tall shadow was in my bathtub. I wasn't wearing my glasses and I am incredibly nearsighted, so I struggled to discern whether the shadow was merely the shower curtain or what it was. And the shadow spoke. I don't know what he said, but the gut-wrenching panic I felt was still fresh. I screamed and fled back to my bedroom, slamming the door behind me. My girlfriend, now awake and terrified, joined me as I dialed the police. They instructed me to lock the door, but my bedroom doesn't have one. With the banging growing louder and more aggressive, I braced myself against the door, praying that help would arrive in time. To my relief, the police arrived swiftly in only 5 minutes. When I finally emerged from the bedroom, I found that they had dragged him naked from the bathtub because he had been trying to shower. They were questioning him on my couch while he was handcuffed. He was incredibly drunk and had wandered into the wrong house. The one night we forgot to lock the doors. I dated this man for about 2.5 years, and he nearly killed me. Very physically abusive. The last time he hurt me, it was because I told him I was moving and I was going to have a roommate. He didn't like that. He strangled me twice and punched me in the face. I escaped and called the cops, and he got arrested a few days later. Until then, though, he was coaching me on how I needed to go back to law enforcement and state that I hit myself and he didn't really strangle me. But I stopped taking my psychiatric medication and was having a psychotic break that night. At the first hearing, I recanted and told the judge all the lies my ex told me. The judge believed me and he was set to get released from jail, but he was still under a state county hold or something like that. Before he was supposed to get released, I went back to law enforcement after getting some clarity and told them the truth again, in which another hearing was scheduled. Undoubtedly, my ex was notified of the reason why another hearing was being scheduled. He was a gang member. Obviously, I will not be saying which one. And as previously mentioned, by now I had moved into my new house with my roommate. But before he got arrested, he asked me where I was moving. I told him which street corner the house was on, very stupidly. Well, my roommate's boyfriend at the time was affiliated as well. We were with some real winners, huh? And he was apparently notified that my house had been marked by the gang my ex belonged to, and that showed true. One morning, around 6 a.m., my roommate and her boyfriend were sitting in the driveway in her car with the lights off. I was inside the house asleep. A car then pulled up in front of my house, blocking the driveway, preventing my roommate from pulling her car out. We are still unsure whether or not these people initially knew there were people sitting in my roommate's car. The mystery car sat blocking the driveway for a few minutes before a man got out of the passenger seat and began walking directly up the driveway to my porch. Luckily, my roommate's boyfriend had a gun on him, and once he saw the man walking towards the front door, he got out of my roommate's car and flashed his gun at the man. The man saw it and ran back to the car, which then sped off. Maybe a few weeks later, I had driven to the gas station a few streets over after the sun had gone down. I was getting a vape or something. When I was walking back to my car out of the gas station, a man in the same car that was in front of my house pulled up next to me and started yelling something. I couldn't tell what he was saying before. I just yelled back, "Shut the fuck up and leave me alone," thinking I was just being randomly catcalled. I got in my car and went to pull out of the gas station, noticing his car was sitting in front of the exit I was going to take, and not moving. So I went out a different exit and turned back onto the street my house was on. I looked behind me and saw him following me. He waited for me to leave before he pulled out behind me and followed me. I started going down different streets and he kept tailing, so eventually I freaked out and sped up real fast and made a quick impulsive turn that threw him off my track. Another day, I came home from work and saw that the window in our dining room that looks out to the backyard, the only window on the first story that doesn't have iron bars guarding it from the inside, had been tampered with from the outside. It had a screen secured to it so that the window may be opened, and the screen had been ripped off. We reattached it and tried to rip it off ourselves, and it was hard. My roommate's boyfriend was able to, but we weren't strong enough. It would have taken a lot of effort to get that screen off. Last instance, my roommate's boyfriend and his friend had left our house to go on a walk. When they came back, as they were walking back up to my house, I saw two men peeking through the other dining room window trying to see inside. They noticed my roommate's boyfriend as he started yelling at them, asking what the fuck they were doing, and they scurried away. My ex's final hearing happened a few months ago, and I have gotten him locked up until 2036. I think maybe his fellow gangbangers have realized that a man locked up for the next 12 years is not worth risking their freedom over anymore. I have since been left alone.